Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Tool Talk. I'm your host Mark the Window Cleaner. This show brought to you by windowcleaningresource.com. Well, in today's video, I want to show you the DI flush maintenance procedure that's recommended if you have a Waterfed Pro system. Now, as you know, the RO membrane does majority of the work getting out the minerals. And of course, over time, especially if you're using this day in, day out, and especially also in high TDS areas, you can imagine that you're going to eventually get an accumulation of minerals and whatnot building up within the RO membrane. Now, if you want to, of course, prolong the life of your membrane, you're going to want to do a DI flush procedure. Once a week for sure. If you're using this every day in high TDS areas, you can probably stretch it to 2 to 3 weeks, of course, if you're in a low TDS area, or if you just use this occasionally, like maybe once or twice a week. And the DI flush procedure is really actually pretty simple. It shouldn't take you more than about 15 minutes. And all we really want to do is just take our source water, it can just be regular source water, put it through the DI canister first, from the output of the DI canister up into the carbon sediment housing, which of course will bring us into the RO, and then all of it coming out the flush side. And like I said, it's really quite simple. And here's quickly basically how it's going to be done, and then I'll actually show you it getting done. So your red hose here, which normally when we're operating it is running off to the side with all the wastewater going out. You can just leave that set up on the side as is. On the bottom though, where it's connected to the RO output, we'll want to take that off and actually put it to the output of the DI. So the output of the DI will now go from here up into here. And what we'll do is that little black hose that you got, mine just happens to be clear because I broke my black hose. What we'll do with that, we'll take that from the bottom of the RO waste off to the side. And we're going to want to have that hose because we want to take some readings, some TDS readings out of that. So again, water coming in, output of the DI, in through here, we're going to flush that through. Now, when you're measuring the wastewater coming out, of course, at the beginning, you're going to get some pretty high readings because like I mentioned in the beginning, you got some accumulation of minerals on your RO membrane. That's going to get flushed out, and you're going to actually measure some pretty high TDS. And then you're going to notice after, it could be a minute or two, could be 5 minutes, you're going to notice that TDS is coming through as that good, DI water, very aggressive DI water is coming through your RO membrane. And what you're going to want to do is continue to take readings every minute or so until the TDS is below 10 parts per million. Once it's below 10, you know that you pretty much got like 99.9% of any built up out of there, or any of the loose buildup out of there. And then you're going to want to close off the system. Now, normally when you operate the Waterfed Pro, at the end of the day, you drain it before putting it back in the truck. Well, in this particular case, you actually don't want to drain it. Once you're measuring below 10, seal everything up the way you normally have, with the red hose at the bottom here coming up to the top there to seal this up. Making sure, of course, during the whole procedure that you have that valve on there in the shut position, because remember, we're just worrying about the waste side. And so once you've got this all sealed up, you can leave that overnight, and you've got that good DI aggressive water sitting in there, and it can kind of perform what, like a descaling, sort of like what you do with your coffee maker at home. And then at the next morning you come out, you can just let it drain and flush it out, and from there you've got an RO membrane that's pretty close to factory condition, ready to go. Doesn't take a lot of time. Like I said, it takes about 10-15 minutes. For me, I performed one, and it took me, I'd have to say, total setup time, breakdown time, no more than about 13-14 minutes. It's rather quickly. So anyway, let's see the DI flush in action. Okay, here we have our red hose going from the output of the DI to the input of the carbon sediment filter. We have our source hose. Normally you would have this attached to your home water tap. In this particular case, I'm using the water out of a 15-gallon tank. And here our waste hose is hooked up and our valve is in the closed position. Okay, so our pump is on. It's pumping through just regular tap water, going in through the DI, out of the DI through the red cable, up into the carbon sediment filter to the top of the RO housing, through the waste side of the RO membrane. It's coming out now. Got some sputtering going on, probably because of all the air that was inside the carbon sediment filter, but now we can see we're getting a bit of a good flow there. There we go. At first I was getting a very high reading, but after only a couple minutes it's down to 32, and then 15, and eventually below 10 TDS. We're at 8 now. Okay, so like I mentioned before, now that we were getting reading below 10, we can just close up the system, leave it overnight, and of course drain it and flush it out in the morning. So there you have it, the DI flush. Pretty simple, straightforward. Obviously I used a pump in my demonstration, but you can just use your regular source water anywhere you are, or a pump system if you like. It's not really important that you're getting high pressure going through. It's not like we're needing high pressure to be able to clean windows. We just need enough water pressure to get the water through and passing through, and just to bring out all that junk. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.